Okay, good day to you. I hope you're doing well. In the document on the Google Classroom, you got these are the examples, and then you scroll down, and here's the problems that are on your assignment. That's how that's going to work. So these are the notes and the examples. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split the paper into 8 boxes. Don't do it if you don't want to, but helps me organize what I'm doing. So I split it in half, then in half this way, then half and half. So the first problem I have is x plus 7 equals -4. My job is to solve for x. Okay, I have a number x. If I add 7, that means go 7 units to the right on a number line, I end up at -4. Okay, so x is on this side of the equals. I'm going to make a wall. And what operation do I have between the x and the 7? I have plus. The opposite of plus is minus. So I'm -7, -7. And then -4 minus 7 is -11. Okay, my next problem, 3x equals -27, finding what x equals. So over here. Now between the 3 and the x, we don't have an operation sign, so that means it's multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is to divide. So I underline that side and put 3 underneath. Now the x is by itself. Now I underline the other side and also put 3 under there. So x is equal to -27 divided by 3. So -27 divided by 3 is -9. Okay, -9 is the answer. Okay, next one I have x over 5 equals -6. Okay, make a wall. Now, x and 5, there's a line, so that means divide. What's the opposite of divide? It means to multiply. So I times 5, and I times the other side by 5. Okay, the dot means times. So x equals -6 times 5. -6 times 5 is -30. So -30 is the answer. Okay, my next one, we have -9x plus 7 equals 61, solving for x. So x is on this side. So between the x and the 7, there's a plus. Between the -9 and the x, that would be multiplication. Now I have times and plus. You do the plus first. You undo the plus. The opposite of plus, when you have multiplication and addition, subtraction always comes, we want to get rid of that before we worry about the multiplying and dividing. So we need to get rid of the plus 7 first. So I have -7 from 61. So 61 minus 7 is 54, and then -9 dot x. Okay. Now the opposite of times is to divide. So I divide by -9. So x is equal to 54 divided by -9, and 54 divided by -9 is -6. Okay, my next problem, we have -7x plus 5 plus 3x equals 37, and we're solving for x. Well, there's 2 x's in the problem first, so we need to simplify the equation so that the x is only there one time. Like here it was there once, twice here. So again, we need to simplify. Now the question is, are the x's on the same side of the equals, or are they on different sides of the equals? They're on the same side. So when they're on the same side, I'm going to make this little V and write the word add. So I line up the equals. I have 37. I need to add -7 plus 3. Those are like terms on one side. So it's -4. So when I add the x's, I get -4x. And then I add 5 into the equation. Now I can make my wall and look at the operations with the x. Between the x and the 5 is a plus. Between the -4 and the x, we have a times. So remember, the times comes second. We got to do the opposite of plus 5 first. So I would -5. And 32 minus 5, 7 minus 5 is 32, and then negative 4 dot x. So I divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4, and 32 divided by negative 4 is negative 8. Okay. Alright, next problem. Negative 8x plus 2 minus 3x equals 46. Okay, again, x appears twice in the equation, so here's the equals. It appears on the same side. Okay. So again, we make our v, and we add. Now when we add, we got to make sure we're adding negative 8 to negative 3, okay? Because a minus means it's negative. So don't just take negative 8 plus 3. We take negative 8 plus negative 3. That's negative 11x. If you want to make that plus negative, you can do that. But it's negative 8 plus negative 3, and that's negative 11x. Then we have to add our constant of 2. Now, the x appears twice. Between the x and the 2, we have a plus. Between the 11 and the x, we don't have a sign, so that must mean negative 11 times x. So we have to do the opposite of plus 2, which is minus 2. So 46 minus 2 is 44, and then negative 11 dot x. Then I divide by negative 11. The opposite of times negative 11 is divide by negative 11. Not by pi. When you divide, you got to divide by the exact same number. Okay? So if you have a negative 11, you have to divide by negative 11. 44 divided by negative 11 is negative 4. Okay, here's my next problem. 9x plus 3 equals 6x minus 21. Okay, so again, x appears twice, but this time it appears on opposite sides. So if they're on opposite sides, one over here and one over here, we can't do the little v. We can't do the add v. Okay, it's not going to work. So here's what you need to do instead. 9x and 6x, which one's smaller? 6x is. So if that doesn't have a sign in front of it, you're going to put a plus 6x, and what's the opposite of plus 6x? Minus 6x. And then I go under the 9x and minus 6x there. So you add or subtract, you do the opposite of the smaller side. Okay? Remember, if there's no sign in front of the 6, you put a plus. Okay? So 9 minus 6 is 3x plus 3 equals 21. Now it becomes two steps. The 3 and the x there is times, and then plus 3. So we do the opposite of plus 3 first, which is minus 3. 21 minus 3 is 18, and then 3 dot x. So we do the opposite of times 3, which is divide by 3, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. Okay, next problem. Negative 3x plus 2 equals negative 10x plus 51. Again, we're solving for x, but there are two different x's in the problem, the negative 3x and the negative 10x. So which one of those is smaller? Negative 10x is smaller, definitely. Okay, so that has a negative. Now we think of that as a minus sign. So what would be the opposite of minus 10x? Be plus 10x. We think of that as a minus, and I plus 10x to the negative 3. So I line up my equals. We have 51 there by itself. Over here we have to take negative 3 plus 10. That's 7. So 7x plus 2. So I have a times 7 and a plus 2. So the opposite of plus 2 is minus 2. 51 minus 2 is 49, and then 7 times x. So the opposite of times 7 is divide by 7, and 49 divided by 7 is 7. Okay, next page. The reason we make those boxes is so we can get as many problems on the paper as we can. 8's about the maximum you can do. Next problem, we have 9x plus 3 parentheses x plus 4 equals 60. Well, we have to first get rid of the parentheses. So what I do is the number right in front of it, I put a multiplication dot and I do the distributive property. I'm going to take 3 times the x and 3 times the 4. So I'm going to go over here and write 3 times x and 3 times 4. So 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 4 is 12. So line up your equals, and over here you've got 3x plus 12. Now cross out the number in front of the parentheses and the parentheses. All that's gone. We do have to add the 9x into the equation. And then 60. Now, so the parentheses are gone. Now I have 2x variables that are on the same side. So if they're on the same side, you need to make your v. Don't do the opposite. Okay, you add the v. Totally different than when they're on opposite. Remember, if they're on opposite sides, you pick the smaller one and do the opposite, either plus or minus. But if they're on the same side, you just add them together. 3 plus positive 9 is 12x, and then plus the constant 12 that's there, right there. Okay, now the wall can go up, so I have a times 12 and a plus 12. So I get rid of the plus 12 first. So 60 minus 12 is 48. Then I divide by 12, divide by 12, and 48 divided by 12 is 4, so x is equal to 4. Okay, next one I have x divided by 5 minus 8 equals negative 3. Okay, so this this is the only x I have, so I make the wall. So I have a minus 8 and a times 5. Well, like with multiplication, when we have division, we have to do the undo the minus or plus first. So we got minus 8, we're going to plus 8 and plus 8. So negative 3 plus 8 is 5, x divided by 5. Then the opposite of division is multiply, so I times 5. And then I times 5. So x equals 5 times 5, which is 25. Okay, next one. We have 2/3 x plus 6 equals 18. Now we have a multiplication by a fraction and a plus 6. So we gotta get rid of the plus 6 first. We minus 6 minus 6. So 18 minus 6 is 12, and we have 2/3 times x. Now, here's what we do if we have a fraction, okay? You're actually going to flip the fraction, okay? And you're going to times by the flip, okay? You just flip it to 3/2, and then you can make an x through that. And then you times the other side by what you flipped, which is 3/2. So here's how I do this. I take 12, I put it over 1, and I times by 3/2. So 12 times 3 is 36, 1 times 2 is 2. And then I take 36 divided by 2, and I got 18. So when the x is multiplied by a fraction, you flip the fraction, flip it upside down, and multiply the other side by it. Okay, and that's how you can get rid of the fraction. Okay, our next one before we get to the word problems. 8 equals negative 4 plus 2x. Now this one's a little bit different. First off, this is the only x I have, but it's on this side, so I'm working over here. So we have a negative 4 in the x, there's a plus sign. The 2 in the x would be a times sign. So we get rid of the negative 4 first, the plus negative 4. Plus negative 4. Now what's the opposite of plus negative 4? It would be minus negative 4. So I put minus and then parentheses negative 4. And that'll cross that out. Now I go to the other side, minus parentheses negative 4. Now you can do one of two things. You can either punch that in on your calculator, like that, 12. Or if you're minusing a negative number, that's really plus plus. That's what it really is. It's 8 plus 4, and that's 12. Okay. So over here I get 12 and then 2 dot x. Then I divide by 2 and divide by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. So remember, if you have adding of a negative, you subtract the negative to get rid of it, and then you subtract the negative on the other side, just like I did right there. Okay. I'm actually going to add another one of those to the document so you get more practice on it. Okay. Okay, so you got 10 equals negative 4 plus 2x. Actually, I'm going to put in another number. I just did negative 4, negative 8. Okay, negative 8. Okay, that's what it says on the document. So the x is over here. Now, negative 8 and x, there's a plus operation between the 2 and the x. We have times. So we undo the plus negative 8 by minus negative 8, minus parentheses negative 8, and then minus parentheses negative 8. Okay? So on this side, I take 10 minus negative 8. It's 18. You write 18. You can also write plus plus, and 10 plus 8 is 18. Now over here you have 2 dot x. Okay? So then I divide by 2. Divide by 2, x is equal to 9, or 9 equals x, same thing. Okay. Add another problem to the document. Okay, I'm going to put 3 plus 4x equals 23. So here's the x. Well, I got times 4 and then the plus 3. We have to get rid of the plus 3 first. So how would you get rid of a plus 3? It would be minus 3. Because 3 minus 3 is 0. Then the other side, 23 minus 3 is 20. And 4 dot x. And I divide by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, now the two story problems, you did these last year. There's 2 of them. They're not the same process. They're a little bit different, okay? So make an underline. And the first one says this. We had a way we set up story problems, so I'm going to remind you how to do it. Tyler paid $76 for the part to get his car repaired. He also paid $32 per hour. Find how many hours it took to repair his car if the total cost ended at $124. Hours equals. So you put hours equals right there. Now what I want you to do is make a box up in the corner and write down the 2 words we have underlined and in bold, dollars and hours. One of those is X, one of those is Y. Okay? Remember, there's a way to decide which one's which. The time is always X. Money is always Y in any problem. If you have a time unit like minutes, hours, seconds, days, months, years, that's X. Any money in a problem is Y. Then per dollars per hour, you always put the Y on top. Well, the dollars per hour is 32, but I put 32X because it would be 32 times the number of hours, which is X. Now I'm going to make a table up here. X, Y, and X is hours, Y is money. Here's how we're going to do this. If we know the dollars per hour, we're going to label this 0, 1, 2. Okay, now before the $32 per hour, we paid $76. So you're going to put 76 there, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start adding 32. Every 1 hour you add 32. So after 1 hour, he's paid 76 plus 32 is 108. Then I add 32 again, 140, okay? Now, block that off. It's real easy, okay? What came before the $32 per hour? Well, 76 did. 0, 76, then 1 plus 32. 2 plus 32. Now we get $124. Put that in the dollars column. And now we make a box with our line. Here's how you do the line. You put 32x in the middle of the line because it's like a step ladder. Every step's 30. Every step's 32. Now, what's the first number you added 32 to? 76. So that's your beginning number. You put a plus sign and then equals the letter y. Okay, now make a third box for your equation. 76 plus 32x equals y. Okay, now we have to put that $124 where y's at. So get rid of your y and put 124. Now solve for x. So we have a times 32 and a plus 76. We have to get rid of the plus 76 first. Remember, if it doesn't have a sign, it's positive, so we subtract 76 from 124. Line up your equals. You have 32 times x over here. 124 minus 76 is 48. Then I divide by 32. 48 divided by 32 is my answer, 1.5. Okay, you got a decimal, that's okay for a time unit. Now we did those quite a bit last year. Now the next one, and this is the last problem. One bank contains $800. It will be adding money at a rate of $40 per month. The other bank account has $400 and it's going to be adding money at a rate of $50 per month. For how many months will the two accounts contain equal money? Okay, so you can see down here it's months equals. Okay, box here, the two units are months and dollars. Again, the time unit's your x and that's your y. And then per dollars per month. Well, when I read the problem, I see two different dollars per month. I see 40 and 50. So I put 40x, comma 50x. That means we're going to make two tables instead of one. XY, XY. Okay, instead of one table, you make two. X is months, Y is money. X is months, Y is money. Now, when I know what I have over here, I go 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. Okay. Now let's talk about the 40. Before the $40 per month, you started with 800. Okay, so 800, and then you start adding 40. 800 plus 40 is 840 plus 40 again. That's 880. Okay, now our other guy, the $50 rate of change. Before the $50 per month, he had $400. So we start at 400. Plus 50, 450, plus 50, 500. Okay. Now there's really no other numbers to put beneath there like there was here. Okay, so we go make our line. We're going to make two of them though. We put 40x and 50x. Now what's the first number you added 40? You added 40 to 800. Equals y, and the first number here you added 52 is 400. Now we write the equation. Now how do you write an equation based off of two lines? Well, you get rid of the y's, okay, and when you make your equation on one side you put 800 plus 40x, on the other side you put 400 plus 50x. Now we can solve for x, but there's two different x's. Now are they on the same side or opposite sides? They're on opposite sides. So mark the smaller one with an arrow. Well, 40 and positive 40, positive 50. This is my smaller one. I either get rid of that by adding or subtracting. Well, it says plus in front of it, so I must minus it. And over there, line up your equals. Now you have just the constant of 800 here. 50 minus 40 is 10, 10x, and then plus the 400. Now you can solve. You're over here though. You have a times 10 and a plus 400, so we get rid of the plus 400 first. So minus 400, minus 400. 800 minus 400 is 400, and then 10 times x. Then I divide by 10, and x is equal to 400 divided by 10, that would be 40. Okay. So 40 months, it will be the same. Okay. And you have the problem beneath it. Let me know if you run into problems. Okay, remember, take the pictures of your notebook and send them to me. That's how you're going to hand in assignments. Okay, just like last spring.